Example applications of impedance. How to use impedance to analyze electrical circuits. In a previous lesson, we defined the complex variable impedance. In general, impedance Z is voltage over current, or R plus IX, where R is resistance and X is reactance. We also gave this equation for complex voltage and complex current. But note that angular frequency is not a part of these equations. That's because we define complex voltage and complex current as phasors. Phasors are my favorite weapon. No, Mr. Kirchhoff, this is phasor with an O. What you're talking about is with an E. Oh, then live long and prosper. A phasor, which is short for phase vector, represents the amplitude and phase of a sinusoidal function at some single constant angular frequency. The actual or physical voltage is obtained as follows. We multiply the phasor by e to the I omega t. You can see that this puts the frequency back in, and then we take the real part of the product. I'll illustrate with a simple example. Suppose we have a signal with angular frequency omega, peak amplitude Vp for the voltage, and phase angle phi, expressed as a phasor, and we want to calculate the actual physical voltage. Let's start with the phasor as previously shown, and following our procedure, we multiply by e to the I omega t and take the real part of it. Here's the algebra. First, we combine these two exponents into one term, and then separate the I, noting that we've also taken the Vp out since it's a constant. We can split up this exponential term into cosine plus I sine, and the real part is just the cosine term. So here's our final expression. The actual physical voltage is given here. You can do the same thing with current, except using theta instead of phi as the phase angle, and we get this expression for physical current. Notice that these two phase angles are in general different. We can also generalize Ohm's law and Kirchhoff's laws for impedance. Ohm's law for impedance is just V equal IZ. Kirchhoff's current law is that the sum of all complex currents meeting at a node must be zero. And his voltage law is that the sum of all complex voltage differences around any closed loop in a circuit must be zero. In other words, the complex voltage has to return to its own value. You can use complex impedance and these rules to show that the same equations apply for impedance as they do for resistors in series and parallel. For n components in series, we get the sum of all the impedances, and in parallel, we get the reciprocal law, just like for resistors. But these laws and equations apply not just to resistors, but to any electronic component. For example, Z1 can be a resistor, Z2 a capacitor, and Z3 an inductor, and these equations will still hold. This will be very useful. Let's do an example of a simple circuit with just a capacitor. The supply voltage is what we showed before, and we want to calculate the physical current. We do the previous example in reverse, namely we started with this to derive this. Now we start with this, so we know that this is our voltage phasor. We also know the capacitor impedance from a previous lesson, which is also the total impedance since there's only one component in this circuit. The generalized Ohm's law gives us the phasor for the current, I omega C Vp e to the I phi. We follow the previous procedure to obtain the physical current from the phasor. We multiply by e to the I omega t. I took the constants outside, and then we take the real part. The algebra looks very similar to what we did previously, but here we also used I equal -1, and we used this trig identity to change from sine back to cosine. So this is our final answer for physical current. In terms of our general equation for current, we see that peak current is omega CVP, and phase shift theta is phi plus pi over 2. Compared to the original VT up here, we say that the current leads the voltage by a phase of pi over 2, or 90 degrees. Now let's do the same thing with one single inductor. We start with the same supply voltage, and we want to calculate the current for this case. We know from the previous example that the voltage phasor is Vp e to the I phi, but we have a different impedance, namely that of this inductor. And since it's the only component, this is the impedance of the whole circuit. Again, we use the generalized Ohm's law to calculate the current phasor. We take out the constants and then take the real part of the current phasor times e to the I omega t. The algebra is very similar to the capacitor case, but we also used another trig identity as shown here. And this is our final answer for the physical current. Again, in terms of our general equation for physical current, we get the peak amplitude of current as these constants and the phase shift as phi minus pi over 2. Recall for the capacitor case, this was a plus sign. So compared to voltage, the current of this inductor lags the voltage by 90 degrees. In summary, we examined complex impedance in greater detail, introducing complex voltage and current as phasors, and then I showed you how to obtain the physical current or voltage from their phasors. This works when we're considering only one frequency. I showed a simple example, and then I showed that Ohm's law and Kirchhoff's laws can be generalized for impedance, and I worked through two circuit examples, an AC voltage applied to an ideal capacitor and to an ideal inductor. Both of these simple circuits lead to phase shifts between the current and the voltage, and we showed how impedance can be used to calculate both the amplitude and the phase shift. A capacitor causes the current to lead the voltage, while an inductor is opposite. The current lags the voltage. In an upcoming lesson, we'll look at simple filters consisting of resistors, capacitors, and inductors. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos. 1, 2, 3. That's all there is to it.